Hi, everyone, and welcome to a new chapter of our lives. I'm super excited to be here because today we're going to be talking. Oh, I paused it. Sorry. We're going to be talking for the first time with Jessie, and I'm super excited to hear she'll share with us today. I'm inviting her to join us. Hi,
Hi, Denise. How are
how are you?
you?
I'm super excited, and you?
Yes, me too. Thank you so much for chatting this evening.
Of course, we started talking a while ago, and I definitely know and feel we're in the same page, both of us, regarding, of course, fashion and sustainability. But it would be awesome for you to start by introducing yourself to our community, say who you are, what you do, and then we can take it from there. What do you think?
Absolutely. Yes. I feel
Awesome.
like when we first connected, it felt like kindred spirits. And I always love connecting directly with people, the people behind the brands. And
Yeah,
that's exactly who you are and who I am. My
yeah,
name is Jessie Junko Beardsley. I am the founder, designer, and stylist at Themis and Thread. Themis and Thread was launched in 2013 after the world's deadliest garment factory accident in Dhaka, Bangladesh.
yeah,
That really tragic moment was um, a waking up point for a lot of us.
yeah.
And I had studied fashion in college and had really just been doing custom jobs here and there. And that moment felt like a turning point for me, where I realized this seems like a time to do something bigger.
Yeah,
And I
for
launched.
those, sorry to interrupt you, but for those who don't know, it was a big crash in a factory in Bangladesh where a lot of people died because the building just fell on everyone.
Yeah.
So those
Yeah.
are
So it
the
was
conditions
completely
of,
avoidable. It
yeah,
was,
those are the conditions of modern slavery behind the fast fashion industry. So just a parenthesis for those of you guys who don't know about
yeah. So
what
it
that
was
event specifically.
the Rana Plaza factory, and it really did birth a uh, new, reinvigorated fashion revolution. So
Yeah,
that's a big part of my fashion activism. And Themis and Thread started with micro collections of ethical uh, pieces that were very, very intentionally sourced, and also they were created to be customizable.
yeah,
Uh,
that's great.
since the pandemic, I have started to shift towards more of a service-based business,
Yeah,
rather than sales, and I still do custom design, and I still make things and love creating fashion,
yeah.
but I'm focusing a little bit more on helping people show up authentically as themselves through their personal style, kind of as like a communication tool and healing modality. So the conversations of transformation and sustainability are so powerful. And I know that you were experiencing some transformation during the pandemic, and that's also when your business was birds, right?
Yeah, I always introduce Herbal as my COVID baby.
Mhm.
Because for me, I have a son, he's 4, but I gave birth to Herbal in the middle of the pandemic. And I really think many of us had that big calling into really either searching for a new work opportunity that made more sense with our values or directly changing industries completely, our lifestyles. I mean, the pandemic gave us all an opportunity to really rethink our lives and, if necessary, make the adjustments or start with a clean slate. Everyone's journey was different, but I feel it happened to many of us that we could really take that as an opportunity to change, to
Truly.
be reborn, right?
Yeah, kind of a renaissance. And I like
Yeah,
recognize this uh, kind of traumatic experience turning into an opportunity, which
yeah,
was how I experienced the Rana Plaza factory collapse and also the pandemic, giving us just pause through trauma to recognize what's going on and to just like dig a little bit deeper, and to be able to turn it into something different. we had so much time in so many different ways during the pandemic to really take a pause and look at life, like,
Yeah,
and are we doing it the way that is supporting us? And
definitely.
just like seeing the shifts that humanity is capable of is really inspiring.
Definitely. And mainly, I mean, regardless of the industry you're in, there's so many cool people doing awesome stuff. So it's really rewarding when you start digging in a certain industry and you find, or if you follow accounts on Instagram, like, oh,
Mhm.
this new bioplastic, fully biodegradable was discovered. And it's so exciting, right? There's so much going on. I'm super
Yeah,
positive. I do think we stand a chance, as you can tell. I'm not like the
I know. I think
we're
that
all
we need to
gonna
be
die type
optimists.
of, yeah, because
Those of us who
sustainable,
are in sustainability generally, I
yeah,
think, are like optimistic humans. And
definitely.
I am that way, and I also attract people who are like that.
Yeah,
Many of my clients and my people are people who are really passionate about making change and who are effectively doing it. So they're
yeah.
really walking the walk, not just talking the talk. And that I'm constantly inspired by my own clients, and that's a really like fun process.
That's beautiful because you do your own designs for them, custom made products is a great way to support sustainability because you don't have those excess fabrics, you don't have a lot of things that are involved when you mass produce items. So what's your perspective on that if you want to tell everyone?
Yeah, I it's actually custom fashion has always been my favorite thing that I get to do. And I'm actually working with a really wonderful client who is an assembly member here in New York State, and she co-sponsored the Fashion Act, which was introduced in January of this year. They're currently in the process of rewriting that and making
Yeah,
kind of pulling out some of the legalese and making it a little bit more clear and making it a little bit more um, welcoming and approachable for union members and the industry in general. But I connected with this woman as an activist and an advocate for sustainable style. And then she's getting married and I get to make her wedding dress. So this is somebody
oh,
who's
that's
like
beautiful.
just so
Yeah.
walking the walk. And it's really, really exciting. She's getting married next week. So
Oh,
we are
nice.
just getting ready to wrap things up with her. But like I said, being inspired by clients like this is kind of an extreme example. She is so deeply connected
To the
to the
industry.
sustainable fashion
Yeah,
world. But there's so there's so many steps in the process of creating fashion, and we're so disconnected by it, like
yeah,
from it as consumers. So mass production, what goes into it, we just see what's on the selling floor, and then we see a lot of poorly made garments, honestly, that are
yeah.
being created through fast fashion. And like we don't get to interact with the process. So like my custom fashion process, I give everybody a crash course in fashion design. Like you get to see soup to nuts, like how everything works. And I, in my vertically integrated studio, am capable of doing every single component myself. So
Yeah.
there's so much that goes into it that's invisible because we're outsourcing these jobs, and we're hiding the people because we're not taking care of them.
Yeah.
And that's why the fast fashion world doesn't show the inside, because it's really ugly and it's
Yeah.
really inhumane, and it's definitely not something that they want to highlight. So
Yeah.
just
And
spreading awareness of that, I think, is really important.
definitely. And an easy way, we were talking a little bit through email about greenwashing practices. A super easy way to know a brand is definitely greenwashing you is price point. I mean, if you have ethically sourced materials and the people picking up the cotton are getting paid a fair living wage, you can't pay $5 for a shirt.
Right, it
It's
just
just
isn't
the way it
possible.
works. It doesn't make any sense. You have the designers, you have all the marketing strategies, you have the cotton field people, you have the people who do the thread dye it. It's such a long process till you have a shirt done that if you start from unless you're thrifting, of course, but if not, price point is definitely something to consider. not to fall into greenwashing practices. Would you like to add something else? I always try to give tips for the people listening to us that would help them be a little bit more aware as a consumer. Because of course, for a special occasion, maybe you can have something custom made. You can always, if your body changed for any reason, you can always adjust the clothes you have. But again, if you don't have that opportunity and you needed to purchase something, what tips would you give?
Yeah, it is. I feel like we are often like put in a trap where we are like putting poor people in one country against poor people that are completely invisible and like halfway across the world by the market having such low prices. And these prices are definitely based on people not getting paid for the work. So it is like worthy to learn about what goes into it and the time that it takes to create fashion. But we've been so used to affordable prices that it's really, like the sticker shock is something that is difficult for people to get over. But the beauty of purchasing a well-made, well-designed garment that is using actual like organic materials, and by organic I don't necessarily mean organic, not synthetic, you know, natural fibers. Purchasing those items, they're gonna last longer, which is like a joy, and that is a benefit. I often recommend people consider cost per wear. So fast fashion, you can buy a $15 party dress, but you can probably only wear it a couple of times. And, you know, a lot of that stuff, as soon as you start washing it, it starts breaking down and deteriorating. But when you're purchasing something that you've like invested a little bit more into, you're hopefully like also purchasing something that somebody else has invested more into. And that means it's going to last a lot longer. So if you buy something that's going to be a lifelong garment, you know, you're going to wear it 30, 50 times, like within the first year or so. That right there is just increasing the value. So really, I think that purchasing fast fashion is something that we can't afford to do. Like it costs you more money, and it costs, the unseen cost is always on humanity and the environment. And that's just something that is passed on if you as the consumer aren't actually making that purchase. And greenwashing is like a really complicated issue, but there are some things that you can look for. Like you mentioned, fair trade. Fair trade is not specifically defined because it's working with so many different markets, and the markets are totally different all over the world. And it's really hard to say what's fair for one person in a certain country being different, looking at like civilized countries being like having we don't even have a great like we don't even have a great cost of living here, you know. We're still like working on that here in America. So fair trade is excellent. USDA organic, GOTS approved organic, those are really great things to look for. And if you're purchasing something, I just really always recommend doing a tiny bit of research, doing a Google search, seeing if they even have a website. I mean, like not having a website could be a red flag. Asking a person behind a brand, like, who made this? What are the conditions like? Is this, do you know where this is made? That was one of the things at the Rana Plaza Factory Collapse, that so many of the brands worldwide that actually had clothing that was being produced in that factory, they didn't even know necessarily that they were contracted with that factory. They're just looking at numbers and bottom lines often. So like, just if you can like speak to somebody, that's a good sign that they're gonna like be forthright with actual legitimate information.
Transparency in the information that the brand or the company provides is always a good step, either on the website or asking them if you're in a market. Definitely that transparency says a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
And we as consumers, I feel and I love the way you call it, of course, Fashion Revolution uses the revolution word as well. And I do think in every industry we have that opportunity to create a revolution, and it starts within. It starts with us taking that extra step into really reading. You don't need to go nuts and study it if you're not in the industry, but there's so many information, even in Fashion Revolution, available to give you small, easy tips to be able to join this revolution and really help your skin, because the more natural the fabrics are that you wear, your skin and your body is going to feel better. But also the environment, the industry, like it's about healing as a whole, no? As a whole, I mean, as the world, we need to start taking that step forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you like say that you don't have to study, you know, like
Yeah.
I'm somebody that wants to like dig in and rabbit hole
But
with
we are
a
in
lot
the
of this
industry, of
information.
course.
But it's so important for you to like find the thing that interests you,
Yeah.
that you want to like investigate, that you want to learn more about. Really like what you're drawn to
Yeah.
is a very important clue to your personal values and passions, and connecting with that is really juicy stuff. You know, that's something that's helpful for
Yes.
humanity, you know, or you're like doing some work and questioning some things. And I think that during the pandemic, just questioning the status quo was something that a lot of us did in a lot of different ways. And if fashion is something that you're interested in, if sustainability is something that you're interested in, combining those two interests is going to lead you into a direction and a path that you're going to receive value from, even if it is just, you know, even if it is just having your interest piqued and learning something new. But I know that for me, I never really try to convince somebody to take this path. I love offering resources and sharing information with people who are already interested in it. And I like find that when you have a genuine interest, then it just feels so much more aligned with your spirit.
And sometimes it's really about respecting the other's personal process, because sometimes you are not all in. Maybe you buy some fast fashion because you can't do otherwise, or you don't know, and then you start blending with some sustainable brands or thrifting. I mean, everyone's journey is different, and it's good to be respectful. I agree. But for me, it's about like talking to people like you and really trying to create this wave, one person at a time. Because many times we are experts because we read about it, we like it, we are in this world, but others don't know. They don't know.
Right. There's
changes.
like such little education out there about it. In fact, absolutely. Just like,
definitely.
You can't, like just to know, just because a business or a brand is online and looks legitimate doesn't mean that they're safe or even legal. Just because that's happening, just because something's available. And also, we like spent 2 years doing most of our shopping online, which for clothing is really hard. And there were so many scams out there, and those scams are definitely like not slowing down in any capacity. I mean, things like little doll dresses showing up instead of a real dress, and just really poorly printed t-shirts and things like that. Were just like that was running rampant, and it's from Facebook ads, Instagram ads, just like clicking and buying something. And, I don't think that you need to spend hours or like find the CEO and like make a phone call or whatever, but just like take a peek behind something. You're not going to like walk into a store and not like look at the label or look at the price tag. So why wouldn't you just like look at another bit of information when you are shopping online?
And getting a little bit curious.
Yes, absolutely. It's just being a little bit curious. I always say like behind the scenes, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and you don't know until you ask or until you take a peek. So I also always like, as a designer and as a maker, I have a really hard time shopping for clothing because just looking at how things are made it just makes me absolutely crazy.
I bet. The more you
So,
know, as in every profession, the more you know,
yeah.
the worse it is. But jokes aside, I wanted you to share a little bit, and changing the subject too, about personal style and what we were talking about also by email, finding your own identity through fashion. If you wanted
Yes.
to share a little bit of how your
So,
process
like
is as a
fashion,
stylist, and
it
yeah,
really can be like so joyful. And I know that some people, not everybody is a fashionista, but to tap into your actual personality and figure out how to express that in fashion is such an empowering experience. And I firmly believe that women deserve to be in control of their own image. And I feel this like renaissance of reclaiming your femininity and your image and your power. And I'm seeing people do that in so many different ways, and it doesn't have to look the way that it has classically traditionally looked. I loved your conversation with the makeup mariachi, and
yeah,
just identity and really expressing all of the multifacets of your personality is something that you can be doing with fashion and style. And not only is it self-soothing, and it can be incredibly healing, especially if you're considering something like a trans person coming out and like showing that to the world, like the power and really stepping into your identity. But it can be really powerfully like communicative. You can start attracting people and experiences to you by sending the right communication cues through your personal style. We all do it unconsciously, and we look at each other and we think a thing, and subconsciously our brain is like going through all of these patterns and filing all of this information, and we're sending mixed signals because we don't know, we're not claiming ownership over our personal style, and it can just be really wildly powerful to just step into that. And during the pandemic, I designed a course that is a 6-week course called Fashion Therapy, and it's just
oh yeah,
it's
I love that.
really really juicy. It's just you dive in deep into getting to know yourself and learning how to express that. And I just love the results. I love seeing people blossom, and I love connecting directly and like so deeply with I mostly work with women, but female identifying folk, and um, it really can be healing. And also, you gain visibility, and my clients have a lot of really important, powerful messages to put out into the universe, and getting visibility is how you put those messages out into the universe. So it's a real thrill and joy to help people do that.
It is because I used to think I'm not from the fashion industry. I joined the fashion movement through wanting to give birth to something sustainable, and being it such a polluting industry, that's what led me. And I've always been attracted to art, so it just design made sense for me personally, and therefore Herbal was born. But being an outsider, a former outsider of the fashion industry, I used to see fashion as something superficial that was supposed to make you look a certain way, fast fashion mainly, changing trends all the time. So it just didn't make sense for me till I started digging into a lot of information, slow fashion, artsy, all the craft, the handcraft that goes into doing something beautiful. And I fell in love with it right away. And it's been a journey, but I know that for many, the way you look doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter as long as if you don't put an intention to it, you feel awesome, because it's not about how you look, it's about how you feel.
100%.
And if that look doesn't represent how you feel, we have a problem, because we
Yeah.
have a contradiction, right? So
Yeah.
the more you can find that information outside that resonates with the inside and makes you feel good, the better. So I invite everyone to do your course and let know how they can do to find it and to join and to discover their personal style if they haven't yet.
Yeah, I have there, if you head to my profile, the link in bio is a link tree with several really helpful links. So if there's something in this conversation that speaks to you, I guarantee you there's something in that link tree that you would be interested in. I, of course, would love to talk to everybody about fashion therapy. And there's really like so many other ways that I am excited to connect with people. And I love you like mentioning like you being a former outsider and kind of feeling a little bit of like inaccessibility to fashion and a superficiality. And a lot of this is also connected to like radical self-love and being like recognizing that you are worthy of showing up the way that you want to be seen, and that you can also wear your values, like finding beautiful hand embellished, like falling in love with this specific traditional garment crafting process from someplace else. There's so many ways to really like find what it is that lights you up in this and to wear it, and therefore you stop sending mixed messages, and to yourself too, just to like dig that out and learn that about yourself is such a like powerful experience. And I do have one thing that is in my link tree that I would love to share with everybody. It's a free instant download. It's called Lead Like a Woman. It's 5 keys to stepping out in style. And it's just like 5 simple steps that you can take to really start showing up as the feminine leadership role model that you are like made to be. And I would love it if everybody just took advantage of that little freebie right there.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And thank you so much for this. It's been beautiful, amazing. I love talking to you. I hope maybe we can repeat this with more like tips and stuff. But for today, we're all set.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna leave the link you just mentioned on the description of the video. I'm gonna upload it now. And big kiss to you. Thank you so much.
Adios. Thank you.
Adios.
Have a great night.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.